Hey everybody, welcome back to the Salwinds Marketing Podcast. So today we're going to be going over your site's search engine optimization. Now we're going to be making a bigger dive into Google My Business at a later time, but for the sake of this video, we're going to be focusing primarily on some general SEO concepts that, in addition to restaurateurs, pretty much any small business could use a lot of these. I hope you enjoy. All right, diving right in, you can see a screenshot above of one of our clients who's a sporting goods store. And you can see that they've made over about $30,000 over the last 90 days in just their search engine traffic, which we're obviously very proud of. And we thought we can outline kind of how we went about that from literally $0 to about $10,000 a month in search traffic. Here's the journey. First off, the site wasn't even made when we got involved. So we really tried to point our client in the right direction to be able to choose an optimized template that we knew had great speed, we knew didn't have too many major faults in terms of SEO violations, and that we'd be able to pick up steam with fast. That's so important if you're just starting out. Obviously we can work with any site, but to be able to come in before the site was picked, boy, was that helpful, because that saves you a lot of headaches. I wish every client would come to us before making a site, and then we would all save a lot of time. So in this particular case, we got to consult even prior to the site being built and actually consulted all the way through the process. So I think that also helps us out here. Now, with online and on-site optimization in terms of their speed, the score is pretty much in the good. We didn't have to worry but too much on actually getting deep into the code and trying to figure out how we were going to speed things up. I personally know that on some of my sites, I've used videos. Now, it's always going to slow things a little bit if you're loading huge videos onto your screen, but make sure you're hosting them on your site if you're going to do it. A lot of these new website builders offer the ability to just post a YouTube link. Think about it like this. They open up your site, they get the call for that's all loading. Then in addition to that, they're going to get another load from a different site, which is YouTube. It's going to mess up your score, and you really can be penalized on search engines with just that. So be careful about your site speed. We're not going to get too much into it because we didn't have to get too into it for this client, but feel free to talk to us about it at any point. Now, getting the right keywords. Now, this is absolutely vital. So essentially, we're trying to figure out what people are searching the most, and how to create our website in a way that signals to the search engine that we have that information available. And that, broadly speaking, is the topic of keywords. So how do you tell Google that you have the keywords that they're looking for? Well, each individual page title. Now, this comes most into play if you have product pages. For the golf shaft business, we felt like the most common search was simply the name of the product. Let's make one up real quick. Nike Blue Golf Shafts. So we made sure that the headline, the major name of each page was exactly that, Nike Blue Golf Shaft. We made sure that was in the title tag. We made sure that was featured prominently in our metadata. Now, that indicates to our search engines that is the most important signal that we're putting out, Nike Blue Golf Shafts. Now, what happens when we put too many words in there, like buy Nike Blue Golf Shafts, we actually diminish the value of each individual word. So if you think of it just in terms of percentages, each word that you're adding into your page titles could be complicating it or diminishing the value of the other words in your page title. That has to really be considered. Now, in addition to our title and our metadata, we have to be worried about something we call header tags. So Google loves the H1 header tag as well as H2, 3, 4. And these are all tags that, from an aesthetic standpoint, simply refer to the size of the text. But for an SEO standpoint, actually indicate exactly what the most important items are. So for this sake of our Nike blue golf shaft example, you would want that to be your H1, wrapped in your H1 tags. But if, for instance, you put that into your H2, H3, you're actually sending a mixed signal to search engines where you're saying, well, this is the most important thing. But now remember, it's not the most important thing, because why else would you be putting it in H2 or H3? So you're giving them this weird ranking that's only going to confuse search engines and harm your overall placement in them. So for the sake of our shafts, I like to use terms like by or secondary terms like that in my H2 or H3 headers, so we can get those involved in some way, but we're not counter signaling to the search engines. So just make sure your H1s are clear, and for sure don't put too many, because they'll call you out on that too. Now here are the parts that really get missing. We have in our images alt text. Now that's images within an article, and then we actually have the featured article, the main picture of the page, that also contains alt text. This is a great way to get into keywords. So once again, with our Nike blue golf shafts, I'm going to use in my image tag Nike blue golf shaft. Now for for our featured image, we're going to be doing exactly the same. This is helping you on your image search results as well as your general results. We recently got an accidental experiment in this regard. Our client deleted all of our alt text, and there are 170 products, and they deleted it all. We were not happy, but here's the bright side of it, and the silver lining. It provided a great test. So nothing else was changed, but the alt text was removed. And we fell about 40 to 50 places in search engines within the span of a couple of weeks. I guess it takes that long for Google to spider. But we lost that much just from your alt text. So get your pictures in order. And that's really... So when you're saving your images, that's very important. Don't save it as a million different letters and numbers. Label it what you want people to be searching for. Label it accurately, as if somebody highlighted that, if they were unable to make sense of the image, or if they were unable to see the image, if they were blind, they could hold their mouse over it and get an accurate description. Search engines actually operate in a very similar way. So you want them, they don't know what the image looks like per se, but they're seeing that alt text. So this is another chance at getting those keywords. So it's looking at your file name as well as your image alt text. Make sure all that's right, because that's maybe the most common mistake we see. Now, finally, let's get into links. Now, this is broken down in the marketing community by white hat and black hat link creators. And I guess to explain the difference, it kind of, let's do a quick history lesson. So Google used to spider all the sites that they could find on the internet, and you would get all of these results, and people would make these trash websites, and they would accept payment, and they would put the links on their site, and it very much didn't matter, and people would game the system in this manner. You'd have all these bot operated processes and all these websites that really added no value to the internet, and nobody would really benefit from clicking on their site. And the world became filled with these. This is kind of your classic black hat link buying. So if you wanted a site to get better results, you would call up one of these companies and they would provide you with the access to get onto all these sites. Google actually at this point is very good at detecting those sites, and they'll penalize you if you try to do it. There's an interesting example of when this is not the case, and we'll get back to that later after the comparison. But let's compare that to white hat. Now, your white hat link creation is actually calling up people. It's actually doing very old school PR, and that's why marketers hate it, because a lot of marketers aren't marketers. They're just button pressers, and they don't really understand the PR element of marketing. And let's use this example. This client who's providing custom golf shafts, I'd be calling these major companies and expressing to them the importance of getting our product and our client listed on their site as a valuable asset to the community. That's not so simple. Sometimes you're not in that situation. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's very costly. For the agency guys out there, if you get this, it could be thousands of dollars for each one of these placements that you're able to get your clients. Nobody wants to do it, but because it's hard. It actually takes connections. It's actually real PR, that it's not always easy. So we were actually able to get in contact with a lot of manufacturers who have had long histories of providing product to my client, and we were able to get them featured on there. And I believe that really helped a lot. So with the link aspect, what do you do next? Well, nothing. Give us a call, give us a direct message, give us an email, and we'll give you an exact audit of your site, completely free, which will break down exactly where you need to start in this process of fixing up your site to be able to get it optimized and getting placed very well. Now, sometimes this costs very, very little, and sometimes this costs a lot more. So each case is individual, but we'll be happy to give you a pricing plan. We'll be happy to give you a free audit. And we really pride ourselves on competitive prices. So even if you don't use us, I strongly believe that with our audit and our price plan, you'll at least have a very good idea of if you're spending too much with somebody else. So we hope you take us up on our free audit. We always say that little tweaks can have very big results, and some clients are very surprised to see that. I can't think of a better ROI than fixing your search engine. So if you're interested, please contact us at salewinsmarketing@gmail.com, or shoot us a DM, or give me a call personally at 516-643-0090. We're looking forward to getting in touch. Take care, everybody.